Obrigado, querido
Namaskar
Dabi.
and welcome everyone.
Namaskar, sejam todos
I'm really not
bem-vindos.
going to overdo my content. I don't live in Africa,
Eu
so
não
I'll give
moro
you some
na
terms and
África,
tools we use when we do futures work. And
mas
please
utilizamos alguns
watch when
métodos.
I ask you questions. We'll go through a questioning of the future process.
Estaremos
It's a
questionando o
series of questions, and you'll answer
processos
them.
futuros.
If you want to raise your hand, you can, or use the
Você
chat
pode
function.
levantar sua mão para responder durante a
So
palestra
let me start
ou
with
usar o
screen
chat.
sharing.
Vou começar compartilhando a tela.
Recently, I was working in the UN office
Recentemente eu estava
at the United
trabalhando
Nations SCAP.
na United
We visited
Nations System.
25 directors through a workshop on the futures of the world system.
Estávamos numa reunião com 25
And then I
diretores
asked them, as we start this
e um
process,
deles
what would you say is
falaram
the narrative of the UN system? We all
e
know
perguntaram
the problems of it in terms of Security Council is just 5 members.
quais são os principais problemas.
And so when he gave his answer, I
Quando
was touched.
resposta,
He said the UN is like a
eu
football
estava
game. The
tocado.
players are unruly. I mean, the world system is like a football game. The 11 players are unruly. The UN is a referee with a very small whistle. So the players do what they want. And I think
Então, os
that
jogadores
really
fazem o que
captures
eles
the
querem
frustration these
num
experts
jogo de futebol.
when they're dealing with world problems, whether it's climate change,
Tem
inequity,
apenas um juiz com um
poverty,
pequeno apito para controlar.
environmental crises, etc. So then I asked them, after the end
Então,
of the
assim que eles
training,
se sentiram
when we
no
did all the
sistema
methods and tools, I said, okay, what would you
de
like the
Nações
UN to be like as a
Unidas,
story? We weren't talking about should we have a Security Council or not? What's the role of African
nós
nations?
vamos falar se temos que
Just
ter
as a
um conselho de
football game.
segurança ou não.
And
O
I was
que é
surprised.
melhor?
He said he would like to see the UN as a football coach, as the coach. Right now it's a referee.
Então,
You
normalmente ele
control players,
comparou
you're breaking the
com o
rules.
jogo de
Like in Russia,
futebol.
you can't invade, for example. And Russia is one of the players that doesn't listen.
E a
I said,
Rússia é um dos países que
actually, the
não
UN is
escuta.
a system of 11 football players, and all of them think they're Lionel Messi. If you know the Argentinian
Então,
football player, each one thinks they're a
no
superstar.
jogo
He doesn't
temos
have to listen to
11
them.
jogadores e todos
This is a
acham que
football
são
game.
Messi.
So let me ask you,
Por isso
to get this
precisamos de
process
um
going,
técnico
what would be your recommendation?
para que esse processo
Other than a
siga
referee with a small
naturalmente.
whistle, what would you recommend here? You can raise your hand and speak, or put in the chat function what might be a better metaphor for the UN in terms of succeeding in climate change, gender inequity, global poverty, global governance, the issues we're facing. Anyone?
Problemas que estamos enfrentando.
Pouvez-vous me
Alguém?
dire maintenant? Change the system. Okay, so that's a systemic approach. We want a different system, a broader Security Council that allows more members, for example, or where PR Sarkar says a bicameral house
Como
by population.
PSK fala,
But what would be the
por
metaphor for a
população por
system?
país.
Okay, this is good. A round
Mas
table.
qual seria uma
From
metáfora
a
melhor
table,
para o
a small
sistema?
round table to a big round table. That's not bad. So this is the round table metaphor. So instead of a football
Temos
pitch,
a
which is rectangular,
metáfora da mesa
our
redonda,
dear friend Shiva Priya suggests a round table. Not bad. We have two suggestions
que
there.
a
Anyone?
Shiva Priya sugeriu. Mais alguma?
Okay. All countries with equal rights, again, that's a statement of strategy or a value. I'm looking for
Todos estão
emphasis.
corretos.
If it's a football
É
team,
uma questão de
what it
estratégia.
feels like They're just a
Aqui
tiny
é
bit
uma
below
metáfora que se refere a futebol.
and they want to become a coach to advise people how to build a better society. That was his response. And I'm
Temos uma
asking you,
pessoa querendo se
obviously,
tornar
again, that's a vision, that's a
coach
goal.
para ajudar na equipe
But
como
are
geral.
you still in the football game or have you changed the metaphor? So I'm asking you to
Você ainda
shift your
está no
strategy.
futebol ou você já trocou
And
a
my conclusion in
metáfora?
90 minutes is that all strategy is informed by story. Unless the story changes, strategy
Toda
won't change.
metáfora é
As Dr.
feita
Mayher
em
Burton said,
forma de uma
culture
história.
eats strategy for breakfast.
A
Culture
cultura
mange stratégie pour petit déjeuner.
é uma estratégia para o
I'm only
café da
halfway in
manhã.
my French. I'm doing my best. Anyone else?
Mais alguém?
What's a better narrative than a football game or a football coach?
Quem é mais nerd do que um técnico de futebol?
Okay, we seem to be stuck. That's okay. We'll come back to this.
Tá,
Maybe it's
vamos
too soon
continuar
to
depois.
be reflecting on this.
Voltamos. Talvez esteja muito cedo para refletirmos sobre.
Yeah, I think coach position is much better,
Sim,
but we want to see what's after that. And the reason
eu
why I
acho que
ask
a
this,
posição do coach é
one of the
muito
metaphors I
importante.
see a lot. Just this
Uma
past summer,
metáfora que eu vejo
I
bastante,
was, or 10 days, I was working in Manila
que eu vi
on
na
communications
semana
strategy at World
passada,
Bank,
quando eu estava trabalhando em
working with the
Vanilla,
Vietnamese Communist Party, in KL on futures of Asia, and in Bangkok with the UN. And one of the
sobre
themes that comes up a lot is organizations describe themselves as being in a castle in a round table. But outside the castle are hungry wolves. Hungry wolves are, they sense danger, they sense risk.
fora do castelo
And the wolves are
existem
always attacking them.
lobos
In
famintos.
education or transport, most organizations
Precisamos de
experience their lives
educação,
as being in a castle surrounded by
transporte
hungry wolves. So let me ask you this again. Say
para
you're in
fugir
an
dos
organization
lobos
and you have a vision of
selvagens.
cooperation as you're suggesting, equal rights as you're suggesting, but your experience of the day to day is a castle surrounded by hungry wolves. What might be a better metaphor that gets you closer to your goal?
Que metáfora poderia ser melhor para te aproximar da sua
You're in the
meta?
castle, you're enjoying your life, but outside you feel are hungry wolves. What's a better story for you?
Você está no castelo aproveitando a vida dentro, enquanto lobos selvagens estão
How would you
fora.
change?
O que você
How would you
mudaria?
change the story?
Como você mudaria a história?
Yeah, feed the wolf. That's not bad.
Sim, alimente os lobos.
There's a great
Não é tão
example. Feed
mal.
the wolf, a
É
community
uma
feast. So you go
ótima
from a closed system,
resposta.
as many systems are, to what Dadaji is suggesting, community feast or block party. Make it more fun. Make people want to
Torne
connect with each
mais
other.
divertido.
Right
Faça
from
as
the
pessoas
beginning, say
quererem
we have
se
the answers,
conectar.
we're in the center, everyone outside is in danger.
E
Now the
não que
wolf,
todo mundo
let's
fora
break
é
down the wolves.
perigoso.
What are you protecting?
O que você está
There's great
protegendo?
answers to the, I would say, the
Então,
challenge
essa é
of
uma grande
organizations
resposta.
wanting to innovate but unable to because of
Um dos desafios de
disruption
hoje
that we
das
see in the world.
organizações é
So you
a
come back. Those are
inovação.
two really good ones. Now, what's intriguing is when I run this across the world, some of people say, well, break the walls, have a community feast. The best
Vamos
response I receive
quebrar
is
muros,
become a team of huskies, make the wolves into huskies, and make sure the
se
wolves have
tornar
voice.
um time de
Many of you
huskies.
know this joke when we ran this with Interpol. They said, find the junior detective, find the head of the wolf pack, and kill them. So that's a high risk strategy. But I think yours are much more interesting. I was presenting in a place called Double on the
Eu
future of
estava
organizations.
apresentando numa cidade
As I
chamada
presented, the challenges
Double.
became too difficult.
Quando eu
They
estava
perceived to
apresentando
get tough.
desafios, eles ficaram
Many of
muito
them said, well, the
difíceis.
salaries are so low, they can't make the transition. So when challenges are too big, people give up.
Nosso desafio
Recently,
é
I was
muito grande, as
presenting here in
pessoas
Australia at the Future of Food.
desistem.
UN meeting, they said things like, what do we do with the rise of vegans, the rise of science
O
and
que eles
technology in
fazem,
Africa?
quais são
And
os
they said,
direitos dos
what do we do to
veganos.
vegans? Kill
Então,
the
eles falaram que
scientists.
é preciso matar os
Kill the coffee drinkers.
cientistas, matar quem
Why
bebe
coffee
café,
drinkers? They said, well, they're early adopters.
matar quem
So in the
é
process of
vegano.
change, people
Então, o
identified that
processo da
they didn't
mudança,
want to get rid of them. So at this Dalby in rural Australia, which is the capital of cow production, we looked at the end of meat to cellular agriculture, stem cells to create food, veganism, etc. And they said,
então,
okay, well, let's use
falamos
chat
sobre
so we can
veganismo
become
no
allies with
final
vegans.
da
So we diagnosed
conferência.
instead of killing the scientists, how we can create the scientist farmer. In a workshop with UNDP in Egypt, they said the way to progress is not using AI for the wealthy, but
A
AI for the poorest.
forma de
We
progresso
have to
não é
use
utilizar
intelligence, new technology
inteligência
to help the poor reach
artificial
out to the others.
para ajudar
And
as
finally,
pessoas
instead of killing the
pobres.
coffee drinkers, they said, why can't we lead? We're always resistant to change. Why shouldn't farmers
Nós
lead the
somos
way?
sempre resistentes à
So this
mudança
thinking is about trying to get ahead, to
e
not
temos
be
que formar
limited by
líderes.
past fears, by past stories, but creating new stories. So let me ask you this. If we think about the futures of Africa, what Africa could be in 2040, 2050, who are the wolves in the futures of Africa?
Quem são as lobas
You can
na
answer
sua
globally,
vida?
or if you're a continenter,
Negócios,
the answer is
região,
generally for Africa
África
itself as a continent, or your own country.
e na África na próxima
So who are the
década.
wolves in the futures of Africa in the next
Quem
decade?
são as lobas nesta próxima década na África?
You can use chat. If you prefer to say something, you're welcome to say that. Who are the
Você pode
wolves
usar o chat.
as Africa tries to go forward? Okay. External, the history of imperialism. That's a great answer.
Imperialismo,
Anything else?
corrupção,
Yeah, corruption. When a few take money from the many. They're huge, two huge wolves you identified.
quando os poucos tiram
They
dos
see a
muitos.
chance and they take it.
Quando eles têm uma chance, eles tomam.
And Mira suggests, well, actually, it's when labor is not paid its fair share. So three wolves you've identified. Labor not getting its share, corruption, and then Guru, you
Quando um
said, the
funcionário
African themselves, I'm not sure if you're saying that critically,
não
themselves
recebe
say,
seus
okay, we're
recursos,
doing this to ourselves. So these are four, and the fifth Shiva Priya suggests large corporations that make
as grandes
great
corporações
amounts of profit from natural
se
resources, but
apropriam
don't bring the
dos
profit
recursos
back to the local
naturais
area.
ou
Fantastic.
não geram
So therefore, this is the
benefícios
first thing to
à
ask
população
ourselves as
local,
we go
em que os
forward. Who are the
recursos
wolves?
são retirados.
Now, of course, it's the latest wolf, which I talk about in most of my presentations, is
Vamos falar sobre o
ChatGPT.
último
AI in
lobo.
itself is a wolf. So
Vamos
we've been
falar
in
do
this
chat
area, these
GPT
workshops
como
around
um
AI,
lobo.
and I think what comes out that ChatGPT and AI will make the
Chat
exploitation
GPT
worse,
e a inteligência
amplify current
artificial
conditions.
podem
So in
piorar
my
nossa
workshops that I'm doing
sociedade.
with the UN, with Interpol, tomorrow I'm in Melbourne with the Victoria
Então,
Police. They said
as
AI is
Nações
something that
Unidas e vários órgãos
amplifies the inequity.
querem
Two,
equidade,
people don't look critically at the algorithms.
que as pessoas não olhem
So
tão
we have to use these
arduamente
technologies
para o
to critically
algoritmo.
assess them, to develop
Nós
our
temos
own
que
algorithms.
usar essa
And
tecnologia
clearly, for Prout,
para
we
o
have
bem.
Prout algorithms that can be
Para
fed
o
into
Prout,
AI, so it amplifies Prout values, whether it's humanism, Prama,
temos o neo-humanismo e
gender
outras
equity,
teorias
etc.
importantes que podem ser ajudadas pela tecnologia.
Often, because change is so difficult, we get stuck in the past. So in futures
Quando a
discussions,
dificuldade é
I'm
muito
going to ask
grande,
yourself,
nós
what's the
ficamos
radical change?
travados no
Again, in the
passado.
UNDP project, this I thought was the most interesting. They called it Alibaba transformation, where you funding, investing in smaller, formal, informal businesses and actually bringing them into the cloud, bringing them to technology. So
E
that's
trazemos as
it's
pessoas
quite
para
radical.
tecnologia. Isso pode ser, na verdade,
Futures
muito
thinking is
radical.
about the transition. The
Pensar no
assumptions
futuro é
are
pensar
wrong
em
and new worlds are being created.
transição.
Can we
Um
use the future to
mundo
help that
velho está sendo
transition?
destruído, enquanto o novo
So we've
está
been working with
surgindo.
one group, and they
Vamos
have
trabalhar com
moved
um
the last
grupo
7 years from an infrastructure bank to a knowledge bank,
para
to just building, when actually what people
infraestrutura,
want
conhecimento,
is knowledge, knowledge solutions
que as
for
pessoas
practical
querem
problems.
soluções para os problemas práticos
So
e conhecimento
now,
para
after
tal.
years of working with them, they're the first bank in the
Depois de
world to
vários
do micro
anos
lending through gender bonds,
trabalhando com isso, nós somos o
bonds
primeiro
strictly
banco do
for
mundo
females. So
a
futures thinking
fazer
is about
alguns
helping
procedimentos.
people in the transition, how to find the stories, how to create new stories,
Como criar novas histórias, ajudar as
the transition,
pessoas na
not
transição
the
e se
past,
divertir
but fund the
na
future.
transição.
And that
Se
is why we
divertir
suggest
do
you can
passado,
introduce
do
workflow
futuro,
without reducing salaries.
e podemos utilizar a inteligência
When
artificial
we
para
do this
isso.
process,
Quando fazemos
new
este
stories,
processo,
new strategies, new
novas
visions,
histórias, novos
marketing ad
processos,
agencies
novas
get lost
visões
in trying to convince everyone.
estão
There's a great
sempre
article in Science
chegando.
magazine that suggests you only need 25%
Uma
of the people.
revista sugere que
25% of
25%
people need to take a stand
das
before
pessoas
large-scale social change occurs. You don't need 100%. You need
precisa
5%.
descansar.
That's what's called the tipping point. Is futures thinking the new story, the new vision, the new strategy? Does it work? And our research is
Se
very clear. For market
nossa
futures
pesquisa
thinking, the
é
long
bem
term,
clara,
profits go up and they grow. With individuals, if you do futures thinking, you're more optimistic. And as you know, PR Sarkar always said, he's an optimist. Because you're thinking about the
PSAK
future.
sempre foi
You're more in
otimista,
control.
sempre pensando nas possibilidades, nas
Instead of being trapped in the
alternativas,
past. You
ao
think
invés de estar
across
travado
eras.
no passado.
You're a scientist who knows farming,
Ele
who
quer
knows gender equity, who knows business.
atravessar lugares
So you know many things.
e é preciso
In
saber
this
muitas
workshop,
coisas.
I'm going to take you through the
Nesse
different
workshop,
processes. We're going to focus on just a few, but this is generally the
nós
process of creating alternative futures
focamos em
from the
sucessos
world we
do
don't want
fatores do sucesso
to the world we do want. And my book here, we discovered
para
there's
criar o
7
mundo que
factors
queremos.
in this process. So I'm going to take you through some of this
Nós
with
temos
a
7
focus on something called
processos,
CLA,
7
causation
elementos
principle.
nesse
And I'll
processo.
send you articles in French about it.
E eu vou enviar os artigos
The
em
first
francês sobre
idea is you
isso.
want to get your group,
A primeira
if you're
ideia
a
é
change agent in Africa, to understand as you go to the future, people's brains are wired for the past. They'll ask you for the answer. You want to give them tips and
o
tools.
cérebro das
You
pessoas
want
está
to rewire the
habituado
brain
ao
for those
passado. Nós temos
visions
que
to create what's called
resetar
new
para criar um
neural
novo
pathways,
futuro, novo
futures thinking.
padrão de pensamento.
If you don't do that, then you'll be
Se
Kodak.
você não fizer isso,
We know today as AI spreads,
você
it will
será
amplify existing
codacted.
inequities. So if Africa doesn't leapfrog as it has with M-Pesa in Kenya, Silicon Savannah, then it will become Kodak here as a verb. That you'll be even
Você se
further
tornará
behind
Kodak como
than
um
the
verbo que
technologies.
começou em 1988,
So
sem
being
nenhum
Kodak means
funcionário.
being going bankrupt once
Em
you're no
2020,
longer relevant. Now, why is this the case?
tinha milhares de
Because what PR
funcionários.
Sarkar suggests, we've entered
Que
galloping times.
Sarkar
It's a transitional time.
sugere
In this phase,
é
it's
entrar
difficult.
no tempo de
Prana
transição.
is gone. Prana is equilibrium. When
Prama
Prana goes,
significa
the
equilíbrio.
tendency is to go back to the past, the old equilibrium.
Com
Sarkar
prema
suggests
vai,
this time is galloping
o
towards the new
passado se
equilibrium.
vai
It's a
como se o tempo
cyclical thing.
estivesse galopando e criando um novo
And you have the
futuro.
ability, because time is galloping, you have the ability
O
to
tempo
move the
está
horse
galopando
quicker. You
e
can
você
exert
tem
influence on the horse.
a
You can
oportunidade
exert
de
influence on
mudar.
time. So it's a difficult phase. C'est
É uma
difficile,
fase difícil,
but it's a phase
mas
that has
é uma fase que
plasticity.
tem
You can make changes.
plasticidade. Nós podemos fazer mudanças.
These changes, as I've been suggesting, come from
Essas
inner
mudanças
stories
foram
and outer stories.
sugeridas por histórias interiores e
These stories have to be
exteriores.
co-created.
As histórias têm que ser
So if the old knowledge
co-criadas.
framework was the philosopher lecturing, this is co-creating slowly, step by step.
Então,
And
tudo
that's
está
what
sendo
I would
co-criado
suggest is what
passo
we
a
need to do.
passo.
Our self is co-created with the selves of others.
Nós somos criados e formados com os
My
outros
main
também.
learning when I was working in South Africa
Meu
was
principal
putting this
trabalho na
now together
África
to
foi
learn from the future.
aprender com,
Many people learn from their present,
aprender
we say
com
no,
o
learn from the
futuro.
future. Learn from where you could be. And the best
Aprender com o que você
Mandela
poderá
is
ser.
it's impossible until it's done. So now let's start our
O
question
que
process, and I hope this is
tornar
clear.
o
What is
impossível
Africa?
possível até que seja
When you
feito.
think about Africa 2040,
O que é
if you want to
impossível
name a
hoje,
country, if you're living in
mas se é
Africa right now,
possível, muda tudo?
ask yourself what is impossible today? What is impossible today?
O que é impossível
But if
hoje,
possible, changes
mas é
everything.
possível,
What
mas
is
se
impossible
possível,
today?
muda tudo.
But if possible, changes everything.
O que é impossível hoje, mas que se for possível,
So that's in
muda
the chat
tudo.
function. What's one factor that could change everything for the future of Africa going to 2040 or 2050?
Qual é um fator que pode mudar toda a história da África?
Only you would know that. I don't, I have no, I mean, I have my view, but my view is not relevant here. What's your
Eu
view?
tenho a minha visão, mas minha visão não vai ser tão importante aqui. Qual é a sua visão?
Eliminate the collabo. I don't, can someone tell me what collabo means? Colonial, I think you mean, right? Yeah, collaborators. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, I never heard that term before. Okay, eliminate that from moral leadership, impossible today, but if possible, changes everything. Okay, what else? Three, for me, I'll write you mine. That's, to me, the game that changes everything. In Asia, every meeting we go to, we work on Asia Confederation by 2050. So we have three ideas here. The
Nós temos 3 a 10 aqui,
collaborators.
os
African Union. Anyone else? What's
colaboradores,
impossible today?
liderança moral,
Yeah, the wealth stays in Africa. Right now, we know it leaks out. So the multiplier effect of wealth spreading stops because the money's leaked out like a vacuum cleaner. It's a vacuum, it's a vacuum cleaner theory of economics.
é,
It doesn't stay in the area.
é a teoria
So we have four
do
ideas
limpador a
that
vácuo
change the
da
game.
economia.
A fifth? Madhu, I'll
Qual
raise
seria
your hand.
o quinto
What would be your
ponto?
wisdom here? What would be your big idea? Now asking you as someone from Africa, not as a translator. Okay, okay, yeah. Ethical leaders, says Madhavi, and there's one in French.
Líderes éticos,
Pan-Africanism, okay. So the African Union Pan-Africanism, conscience les peuples et quoi dans la manière les progresser.
Panafricanismo.
Yeah, encourage agriculture. Manu, can you translate that? I don't know what élevage is. There's 6, 7 kind of ideas which you're saying are critical if Africa is to transform. But that's the content. Sadvipra mentality. Ah, Africa grows all the food that all Africans eat. So one is the content of which you've answered. Second, in any workshop, if you're running this to transform, this gets people to think about the impossible, because you want them to leave with the possibility of things that can change. Otherwise, they'll do what they did before. The second question in our journey is what's called the used future.
A
I don't
segunda,
know quite how you translate that into
segunda
future
pergunta é
Vietnamese. Let me explain.
desafiar o futuro.
If you look at schooling, even as new tech comes in,
Se
it
você
looks like a
olhar para as
classroom.
escolas
The
antigas, todas
classroom's
parecem
design comes from the factory.
realmente uma escola
The purpose of schooling has been to create factory workers, which
e o
certainly
propósito
makes
da
sense
escola é
in the
criar
modern industrial
trabalhadores
revolution.
industriais, assim como podemos ver
World
nessas
War
fotos.
III, it doesn't make sense. It might,
Mas
it's
no
a used
século
future.
passado não
It
fazia sentido
continues even though it doesn't work.
você continuar
For example,
usando algo
in
que
Manila
não
with the
é
ministry,
bom.
they said today we're like a factory. Tomorrow let's become a jazz orchestra. I said, what does a jazz orchestra mean?
O
For
que que uma
every
orquestra de
student in
jazz
the school.
significa
So
concretamente para
what do
os
we need? We see
estudantes?
some individual excellence.
Estamos ensinando excelências
We see
individuais,
some development.
aprimoramentos,
And then we
cooperação.
allow for the unexpected, emergency.
Estamos abertos
The ministry is there to
para
ensure
acontecimentos.
moral guidelines. So we want to go from the factory, which doesn't work. Let's
Nós
compete with
temos que ir
the
para a
jazz orchestra,
fábrica,
which
que é
allows
o
growth
copiar e colar, que não
in moral
funciona,
guidelines.
para uma nova
Working
economia.
with Philippines with the president's office, they said there's only one solution for the Philippines. I go, what's that? They said take a
Só
rig
temos
and
uma
destroy the
solução
factory.
para os filipinos:
There's no new story.
ativar
Destroy
a
the
bola
factory,
de
Philippine education,
destruição
because it continues
e acabar com seu
based
sistema
on how we
educacional,
learn, how we teach.
porque ele foi colonizado
So a youth future
para um
is a
futuro
practice that we
aproveitável.
continue but no longer works. It doesn't relate to our vision nor to
Não está
strategy.
relacionado com a nossa
It's
visão.
dysfunctional. So what are the current youth futures in Africa? You've told me what needs to change for the impossible to become possible.
Tornar o impossível
What are things that
possível.
we're doing that don't work but we continue? Dadagananandaji says submission to imperial powers. Okay, that's one
Submissão aos
choice.
poderes imperiais, o Tadagyanananda falou.
What are we doing structurally, or even at the
Estamos fazendo
local level?
estruturalmente.
So lack of self-reliance. So dependence on the outside. Okay, that's one. Okay, poor is a statement of reality, but what are we doing to create poverty that doesn't work, that we keep on doing?
A África é pobre.
What's the strategy that we continue as a used future?
Que estratégia podemos utilizar para o futuro?
Practice.
Qual que é a prática para o nosso futuro brilhante? Vamos pensar.
Anyone else? Or was that a difficult question?
Mais
What's a
alguém? Ou é uma
practice
pergunta
in your
difícil?
village, in your school, in your country,
Qual é a prática
in
no seu
Africa, in
local,
your
na sua
continent
escola, no seu
that you're
continente,
doing that doesn't work,
que
but
está
we think
sendo
you need to
feita,
do?
que não funciona,
The
mas
schooling
que
is the
continua sendo
challenge.
feita?
In organizations, it tends to be silos, bureaucratic silos.
As organizações viram silos.
I think Daddy said the use future is save us. Someone else has to save us. That's come across twice. And Ndombi says réduire l'Église qui emprisonne les gens dans un dogma. So dogmatic ways of thinking, if I understood correctly, Madhu.
Maneiras dogmáticas de aprender, se eu entendi
Dogmatic mentality.
corretamente.
So three big issues.
Mentalidade dogmática. Então, temos três aqui grandes questões.
People-oriented development. Right now it's government-oriented development. For use futures.
Envolver as pessoas com desenvolvimento, ao invés de deixá-las dependentes do governo. O Acharya Gyanananda falou.
Anything else?
Mais alguma coisa?
Our strategies that don't
Nossas estratégias que não
borrowed futures instead of authentic to Africa, if I understood Om Karnath correctly.
atrapalham o futuro.
So again, that's the notion of Ubuntu, I guess, and other core ideas. Okay, so we have 5 now. Did I get Om Karnath correct, Madhu?
Agora temos 5.
Oui, là, mais là, je peux intervenir. Allô?
Madhavi says yes. Gender inequity. That's quite dramatic. So that's a use future. That somehow to keep one gender down would lead to economic wealth. And we know that's not the case, it's the opposite. God again understood the use future, in fact, is capitalism. So we have 6, 7 big picture things here. Everyone in this room is a philosopher, I can tell. This big
Nós
picture
temos
stuff.
6 ou
Find
7
a local
grandes
example
questões
in your
aqui.
area, your city, your country, that will even be more helpful. But I think these are quite universal. Okay,
Eu
let's
acho
go
que
on.
isso é praticamente universal. Tá bom, vamos
Oui,
seguir
je
em
voulais
frente.
intervenir. Hein.
Oui, oui.
Je voulais intervenir. Je disais que la crise actuelle est une crise de l'éducation. C'est un travail de longue haleine. Il faut changer le système éducatif à la base. C'est
But we must change the educational system, if I understood the French correctly. It starts there. Such as suggest, again, the use future is perhaps Africa can develop from the nation state instead of the continent as a whole. Okay, thank you. So 7, 8 fantastic ideas.
Obrigado. Então, 7 ideias fantásticas aqui no
Let's
chat.
go to question 3 now.
Vamos para a pergunta
This
3
is a
agora.
questioning process which we know works in creating new futures. Question 3 is what's coming down the road? What are the seeds of change?
O que está vindo da estrada? Quais são as mudanças, as sementes do futuro?
He suggests most of us focus on problems. They're overwhelming. They're the present. Groups that do better focus on trends where there's some data. Groups that do the best focus on the seeds of possible change. They create the future.
Foque nas sementes de possibilidades, para não se perder no presente.
What are some of these emerging issues that will impact Africa? The largest milk company in the US just went bankrupt because they did not notice the shift from cow's milk to almond, soya, and other types of milk. We've seen the cost of an in vitro burger drop from $325,000 per burger to the one I bought yesterday was $4. The anticipation is
Nós podemos baixar o custo de um hambúrguer
be supplanted
de
by what's called
$325
soy
para
milk,
$11,
this and new milk. This mere amount
fazendo
of
uma
sugar,
transição
but it clearly
para
spells huge challenges for
pensamentos
agriculture.
veganos.
I work quite a bit with FAO and WHO, and we're looking at 3D printing of food, the internet of food. Food
Nós
is software.
estávamos aqui
And
estudando
our new book
impressão
is
de
The End of the
comida
Cow. For
3D
those of you who know the work
e o
of
fim das
author
vacas.
P.R. Sarkar, he said very concretely that
Pierre
we're in the
Sarkar
final
falou
stages of cows will disappear.
que estamos
in the
nos
century.
estágios
We're
finais
meeting
do
their
caos.
dead end. But we're arguing it's the end of traditional meat. The rise of food as software model. What happens to Africa in this world? This is truly localized food with high science. The second seed of change we're seeing everywhere is the
A
move towards
segunda
efficiency through
semente
cooperation.
da mudança
Phase one is the taxi driver.
está
Phase two
associada
is
à
Uber.
eficiência e
There's a
cooperativa.
group in New York saying, well, why can't the Uber driver, in Pakistan it's Careem, in Malaysia it's Grab, why can't the new driver own the platform?
Porque os motoristas de
Cooperative platforms.
Uber não podem montar
This
outras
is something coming down the
cooperativas.
road.
Isso está
The third
acontecendo
shift we're seeing
no
coming down the
mundo.
road is what's called peer-to-peer energy systems. Each home, each village has
Estamos
solar,
evoluindo bastante
and
na
everyone
autossuficiência
participates in this process.
fotovoltaica,
So it moves
com
away from
energia
fossil
em
fuels,
casa solar,
it moves away
energia no
from oil.
colégio,
The first
centraliza
discussion of peer-to-peer happened in South Africa.
o controle de energia.
8 years ago, there was a discussion. I was at that meeting there, and they
Há
loved us.
8
And
anos
they said, "We'll go to the Prime
tivemos
Minister and start this process."
essa discussão com o
And the next meeting, we
primeiro-ministro
were about to
na
have the next
África,
meeting, but unfortunately, the head of the energy company was arrested for corruption, and the project
mas
stopped.
infelizmente a
For
companhia
this,
de
of course,
energia
exactly what I
foi
said earlier, corruption stops the transformation.
submetida à corrupção.
Fortunately, Bangladesh has jumped here, and they've created the first P2P energy sharing network.
Bangladesh subiu aqui criando
The
uma
fourth big shift we're seeing
usina.
is by 2060, the under 18
Agora
population of
estamos
Africa,
falando
1 billion.
da revolução de
2050,
2060.
40% of all the children in the world will live in Africa. And by the end of this century, 40% of all
Cerca
humans
de
on this planet will
40%
live in Africa.
das crianças
This is not a minor
estarão
shift.
vivendo na África.
I would say
Isso é uma
it's
grande mudança que
two
veremos.
grand demographic shifts. One is aging,
Temos
and the
duas
second
grandes
is the
mudanças
Africanization
demográficas, que é a
of everyone.
idade.
We're also about to end, we're also reaching what's called peak human. By the end of this century, the
Mas no
population
final
will reach
do
11 billion,
século,
and then we'll
a
keep on
população
evolving
vai
for the
para
foreseeable next 500,000 years.
11 bilhões e
In
depois
fact,
começará a
probably
cair
10,000 years. So we're seeing what's
por
called
conta de
peak human.
recursos naturais.
So really by the 23rd century, you can imagine that Africans will probably constitute most of the humans on this planet. More than
Os
40% by
africanos
this century.
serão
Let's see.
maioria nesse continente.
So what I'm suggesting here is that we're in a
Então estou
transition to a new era.
sugerindo aqui,
Now, if you know Sheikh Yamani, he said that does not mean the old era is simply gone. The Stone Age did not end for lack of stone, and the oil age will end long before the world runs out of oil. So we're seeing the shift towards regional organizations. Doesn't mean that nation states will disappear. So those are some of the things that myself, as a futurist, I focus on. But you're African experts. What are some of the
mas
emerging
vocês que
issues in
são
Africa?
especialistas na África, quais são os grandes problemas da África nos próximos 20 anos?
These are weak
Problemas
signals. They're not well
emergenciais.
known, but you may know them because you have insights others can't see. So what are some of the weak signals? Unknown, high impact possibility. I've given you 5. AI, end of meat, rise of cooperatives, beginning of peer-to-peer energy exchange. They may not occur, but if they do occur, everything
Pode não
changes.
ocorrer, mas se ocorrer, tudo
What are
mudará.
some of those that I can't see that you can see as you're experts in Africa? Okay. So the first thing Paramashiva says really it's transformation of education. An educational revolution in Africa is the emerging issue. I mean, in my language, I call it learning from anywhere, anyone, anytime. And it'll be easier in Africa than it will be in Europe. Because Europe's educational system is
O
very,
sistema
very
de
limited.
educação europeu é muito.
There's a far greater chance of educational revolution in Africa than there is in Oxford or Cambridge or
Tem uma
Yale.
grande
They're far less
possibilidade de
likely.
mudança na educação em Harvard, em Oxford,
So this is the leapfrog. Awakened youth.
na
That's it.
África.
You have so many youth, if they awaken, it's a huge emerging issue. Brilliant, Adaji. Thank you. Others? We have 3 there.
Mais alguns? Mais alguém?
Okay, let's go on. So those are pretty good. If no one writes anything, I'll go on
Vamos
to
seguir.
question 4.
Essas questões estão ótimas.
Now, question 4 is, well, none of us really know the
A
future.
pergunta 4 é:
And among the
como
value
criar
the things that we can
futuros
contribute
alternativos?
to any international discussion, any local discussion, is this notion of scenarios. Not one future, but many futures. This awakens the mind to possibility.
Isso acorda a mente
I
para
was
as
working with the
possibilidades.
government of Malaysia
Eu
6 years
estava
ago on the
trabalhando com o
National Vision for
governo da
Education.
Malásia
And they
sobre
suggested 4
educação
futures. One was
e eles
no change in the
sugeriram
traditional European
4
model,
futuros.
bricks and mortar.
O
More
primeiro, sem
buildings,
mudança.
more professors, more ministries. The
Segundo,
second was
mudança.
jukebox university. Students choose courses.
Segundo,
We've seen in the
Jukebox
US quite a bit.
University,
The third was the Uber
em que os
University.
estudantes podem selecionar seus
The
cursos,
professor, the
como se
knowledge
fosse
comes to
o
you wherever you are.
Jukebox.
And the fourth was the end of the university.
O terceiro é a mudança
Certification.
adaptativa. E o
Suggested at this point,
quarto,
if you're getting a certificate,
certificação
later on in
nano
life,
e
you get
micro,
certificates based on what you learn. So you move from a
baseado no que
credential
você
society
aprendeu.
to a learning
Você
society.
vem de uma sociedade
We don't know the
credenciada para uma
future, but we're
sociedade
saying,
que
aha,
está
we have more
aprendendo.
than one future. I was working with a large
Podemos
corporate
ter
in Indonesia.
vários futuros
They said, well,
alternativos.
let's just sell bigger cars, future 1. Future 2, let's sell tailor-made cars. You decide the color, the type of engine. Future 3, no, we shouldn't be selling cars per se. We should be selling green AI transport systems. The end of the car and the beginning of the green transport revolution. And Future 4 was the most interesting. Why are we selling cars? We should sell mobility. People want mobility.
Porque estamos vendendo carros,
The notion is,
podemos
what are the
vender
different futures for
mobilidade.
Africa? So let's ask ourselves, what would Africa look
Quais
like
são as
in one
diferenças
sentence
que estão vindo para a África?
if today continued?
Imagina que
What would be the headline?
o futuro fosse apenas
There's no change.
continuado,
What does
não
Africa look like?
houvesse
Chaos.
mudança. Como a África estaria? Um
Africa
total
chaos.
caos?
2040, right? More youth. AI leads to more inequity. Culture stays oppressed. And politics stays national.
Os
Right? Something like that. Is that it?
políticos continuam nacionais.
Africa chaos 2040. Yeah, even more than chaos. Violent chaos. Yeah, that makes sense because young people won't have jobs. Now let's go marginal change. Marginal change, like I said, is from the bricks and mortar in Malaysia to the jukebox. change can be difficult, but marginal change, a little bit of change where some things work. Some things are accepted by corporations, by governments.
Algo é aceito pelo
What would a marginal
governo.
change look by 2040?
Quais são as
Some
mudanças
success.
marginais para 2024?
The first was Africa chaos. Okay, this is good. So this is Africa scenario 2. Rise of the African Union. So some solidarity. Yep, we'll call it Rise of African Union 2040. Some fight against imperialism, some solidarity, local markets, Pan-African markets. So we can see progress by 2040. Not bad.
Podemos ver progresso até 2024, isso é bom.
What does Africa Union look like what does Africa look like in a world where there's quite dramatic changes, as again the Asian philosopher Sarkar said? Rise of co-ops, gender equity, peer-to-peer technology, regionalization, amazing AI, women rising up. Okay, so what would scenario 3 look like? What would someone want to call it?
Qual pode ser o terceiro cenário?
Anyone?
Alguém?
Okay, thriving, prosperous. Others?
Mais alguém? Prosperidade?
Any other term we can use? Those are good terms. Thriving and
Mais
prosperous
algum
Africa.
termo que podemos usar para a África?
Maybe this, Africa leaps ahead. It's not tied to the Industrial Revolution. It can do something quite different.
Podemos fazer algo bem
Prosperous,
diferente.
thriving. Young people have purpose. They have vision. Gender equity really takes off.
Pessoas novas têm visão, têm
Yeah,
prosperidade pela frente.
Africa as Ubuntu. Okay.
Sim, a
Some
África
people
tem
spend
os
months on these scenarios. We're trying to do them pretty
Ubuntu.
quickly. Now let's go radical. What's a scenario outside our terms of reference today, where the game changes? So we got the 3 ones. Violent, chaotic Africa, moving towards African Union,
África
even beyond
violenta,
an Ubuntu Africa. And what's the radical one?
África Ubuntu. Qual seria outra
Outside
África
the way we think about today.
radical?
What could that be?
Estaria fora do que pensamos comumente hoje em dia.
It's okay if this is difficult. It's meant to stretch our brains,
Tá
to
bom.
get us to
Isso é
imagine.
diferente e força nosso cérebro.
Or maybe no Africa. We go
Talvez
to
não a
community.
África.
Or maybe climate
Vamos
change
para,
makes Africa too hot. I mean, I don't know. I'm just throwing out ideas.
vamos dizer
Radical.
que a África fique muito quente.
Yeah. Okay, that's not. I like that. Number 4, we'll call it. That's really cool. Planetary Africa.
Sim, eu gostei dessa.
New Guyana. So this is quite radical. The new Guyana system. Okay, not bad. So this is just
Tá
to
bom,
get you
não,
start to
não está
stretch our
mal.
brains what's possible. It doesn't discount the present, but it moves us forward. Now, as we think about where we want to go, there's a whole, I think Dadaji has it. Everyone's looking to Africa. I can remember
Todo mundo está
Najib,
olhando
the Prime
para
Minister
a
of
África.
Malaysia in 1990, said, look east. Don't look to Europe. look to
Quinto
Japan for the
ponto,
solutions. And they did. And this is saying Ananda
ligar
Okay, Satya got it. I think that's the one. That's
a
the
nova
best saying I've
narrativa
seen.
a uma
Ananda
estratégia.
Wakanda is the coolest thing ever. Okay, that's radical, and everyone knows Wakanda is. Okay, Ananda Wakanda
Ananda
2040
Wakanda.
Africa. Very cool. Okay. Now I'm skipping some stages, but we're only together 90 minutes.
Vamos continuar
The fifth
pensando.
success factor is
O quinto
we
fator
have to have a
seria
story behind this.
uma história por
So
trás
I can
disso.
assume that most of us
Posso
prefer
assumir que a
scenario 1, 2,
maioria
and
de
4, right?
vocês preferem o
Africa
cenário
ahead,
3 e
Ubuntu,
4.
Ananda
África
Wakanda.
à frente,
I think
Ubuntu,
those
Ananda
themes that come
Wakanda
across quite strongly.
e
So
outros
if I
times
put
muito
that as
fortes que
preferred,
podem estar nessa
I'm
luta com
skipping
a
some
gente.
stages. It's Ananda Wakanda,
Ananda Wakanda,
Africa leads,
líderes da
Africa.
África,
Young people have purpose. They're not violent. They're peaceful.
eles não são violentos, são pacíficos.
So I think that's kind of what everyone's been saying. This adaptive and radical. Now, underneath everything, if we go back to the beginning of today, the tool I want you to try to remember is one visioning the future, but also underneath the future is a story. To
Nós
remind
temos que
you,
visualizar o futuro e
the role of
também torná-lo
metaphor.
uma história
So there was a study
sobre
that looked at metaphor in
metáforas
crime. So they
poderosas.
gave data to two groups, and they said there's 10
Deram dados a
crimes
dois
in your area,
grupos,
10 crimes in your area. But group one, they said
10
crime is a
crimes
beast.
numa área,
Group two, they said crime
10
is like a
crimes
virus.
em outra.
When they asked people,
Um
what
grupo
strategy
tinha
is successful?
vírus.
Where will you put your money? Where will you vote?
Perguntamos ao grupo como administrar
People who
essas
said it's a
crises.
beast, they would put money in prisons.
Temos que colocar
If on your piece of
dinheiro.
paper it said crime is like a beast, you'll fund prisons. If on your piece of paper it said crime is like a virus, you'll fund education. So the story
Quando o problema está no
tells
vírus,
part of the
investimos
strategy.
na
So part
educação.
of being a social change agent is finding a narrative that's powerful, that people want to purchase, to live in. So I've been working with mental health groups quite a bit, especially now with COVID. And today they said, we can't solve the mental health crisis. I said, why? Because we live in a world of roadblocks and silos. Nothing's possible.
É
Police don't talk
possível
to
com
community.
as ruas
Community don't talk to
travadas.
health workers.
Temos
They don't talk
que
to doctors.
dialogar com as
So
comunidades.
everyone lives in different worlds. We don't
Todo
have a
mundo
solution.
está em diferentes
What's the better
situações.
story? It's the mental
Qual
health system
seria
creates the data tree.
a melhor
Early
história?
prevention, early monitoring,
Temos
suicide
que
prevention through having early warning
prevenir
signs.
suicídio e várias questões alarmantes.
Whether you like Microsoft or not, they asked Microsoft
Se
CEO,
você gosta da
why are you so
Microsoft
successful?
ou não,
Everyone assumed
pergunte por que ele
Microsoft
é
will only
tão
fail by 2023.
bem-sucedido.
They said, because I asked my departments to stop hiring the smartest people. Don't hire know-it-alls. Hire learners, the curious. So this was the
Contrate os
speech.
curiosos,
Change the story
não contrate
from
quem
know-it-alls
sabe tudo.
to learners, people who co-create knowledge with each other. I think that's the definition for me of Sadvipra, courageous co-learners.
Essa é uma
Now let's
boa
look at
definição
Africa.
de
Question 5.
Sadvipra,
What's the
aqueles que
metaphor
são
of
curiosos,
Africa
que
today?
criam. Quais são as
Africa
metáforas
area is like
da
what's the
África
metaphor?
hoje
What's the
e
story
amanhã?
today? Africa is like a
Qual a história
do
hoje?
new
A
metaphor.
África é
Everybody write down what's the
como
current metaphor. Yeah, that's really it. Each country on its own. So that's the metaphor, each to its, and I'll say each to his own. It's very male, it's protective, it's individual. That's very powerful. Any other metaphors? I quite like that. Basket case.
mais alguma
I remember Bangladesh was
Metáfora,
decade
metáfora
first,
do basquete.
and now its economic development far surpasses India, far surpasses Pakistan. They've done something radical there. So each to his own, basket case, two great metaphors. Anyone else?
Mais alguém?
If you're a local African speaker, you can say it in your own language, whether it's Swahili. Okay, we have two. Basket case, each to
Certo,
his own.
temos duas metáforas e do basquete e cada país da sua forma é a segunda.
Let's go back. Sorry. Trying to write now. Can I write on here? No. Outside dependent. Okay, that's the analysis, but we're actually looking for the metaphor. I think we have it. Basket case and each to its own. How would you say outside dependent as a metaphor? That's a
Digo
statement
que
a fact.
um país externo.
Okay, help me is good. Yeah, help me.
Tá, me ajude, me ajude.
Say kuch de do. Give me. The core
Me
metaphor
dê,
of
me dê, me
Pakistan is
dê.
kuch de do. Asking money, the beggar asks money on the street, the country asks money to IMF. And then now recently we ask money to Putin. But it's still the same story, it just changes form. Whether it's Russia, IMF, US, or the street.
Apenas a mesma história
It's a child
contada
being
de
grown up. So
outra
that's fantastic.
forma.
We have three really good metaphors. Normally
Nós
I
temos
can't write. Yes, I
três
can.
boas metáforas.
So good.
I don't know how to do it, Sabo, but somebody wrote a red line across your presentation. You'd
That's
have
me.
to. You did
That's
the red line?
Yeah, I'm trying to do it, but I'm not doing it well.
Well, that's very impressive writing, Subod.
Yeah, I think I need to do a bit better than that. There used to be a way on Zoom I could do it, but I can't. I'll annotate. There we go. Is anyone else? Okay, how can I?
Mais alguém quer comentar?
You make a whiteboard. Stop the presentation. That's the only way.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. Yeah, how do I stop? Okay, yeah, I want to be able to share and write. So where is that on the PowerPoint?
Back to chat.
Use slideshow. There we go. I think I have to stop this. I probably have to stop sharing. Right here. No, I'm unable to. That's okay. Okay, so the three metaphors we got were quite good. Suave qui peut.
Então, as três metáforas que temos são
save yourself. Okay, these are really
cada
save yourself because we don't trust
país por si, save yourself.
Now, what are some ones for tomorrow? I really hope someone can write a little quick report here. This is quite good what everyone's doing.
O que queremos para o futuro? Qual seria uma metáfora para o futuro?
So now we did today. So if the current one is we have four good ones here. Save yourself. Anyone? Okay, join us. Yeah.
Mais alguém?
That's not bad. So that's a new story. Join us is one. And what's the better one from each country on its own? you want to start to flip to think what's a better story that captures people's imagination. We are the world, okay? That's not bad. So we're just
Nós
ourselves. We are the world.
somos o mundo.
Others? Okay, we have some news stories here. My meeting chat is now stuck. Okay, we are the world, Ubuntu. Now, come to Africa is more like a statement. Restitution is more like a political statement. You want to find something that's actually like a story. Like restitution is break the chains. Join us is not bad. Save yourself from out each to his own to we are the world. That's not bad too. Help me. What's one you can flip from help me to what? So with the UN example, it was the referee with a small whistle to the coach. Yes, we can. Okay. Impossible to yes, we can. Again, some can be overly simplistic, but you're trying to find a metaphor that gets you going. Live fully. Okay. Again, not bad. African global village. Okay, that's not bad. So that's quite clever. That links to the earlier scenario, the actual radical scenario. The global village of Africa. That's actually, I think, that's making claims on the future of the entire planet. Yeah, the place to grow. Africa, the place to grow. So again, you're trying to suggest stories where people get excited and want to be part of. And the next part of what we tried to do here, once you've done that well, and we're
Agora,
just sitting here,
o que
let's
faremos
begin to think.
agora
When you're using this for your work, always ask yourself, what's
você
the new
está
story you
usando
can
isso
use?
para o seu trabalho. Qual a nova história agora que eu posso pensar?
Now, part of this here is always what's our personal futures. So who are we in this story? So let
Parte
me
disto
go
é
back to
quem nós somos
each one of
durante
you
essa
have a story. Ask
transformação.
yourself, who are you in that? You may have heard this before when I was working for
Quem é
a company 20
você
years ago.
nesta mudança? Como você estava
We were doing a
20 anos
project
atrás? Você está fazendo um
as we were
projeto?
looking for new finances, new funding models.
Estamos
We
buscando
asked them,
novos
what's the
modelos de
metaphor of your
negócio.
company? They
Qual
said,
a metáfora da sua
we're
companhia?
Cinderella, always waiting for Prince Charming.
A Cinderela sempre
Who is
está
Prince Charming?
esperando
Prince Charming is the government.
pelo príncipe.
We spend most of our time writing grants to get funding from the government. So we're always waiting for Prince Charming. That puts us in a dependent situation, and so we can't innovate. We're always stuck.
Nós não podemos inovar,
So we were about
ficamos
to
travados.
discuss the new
Nós
story.
temos que discutir uma nova
The vice
história
presidents got very angry, started to yell at us.
quando os
And then I
vice-presidentes ficam
said, well,
muito
what's going on for you?
raivosos. E nós perguntamos o que aconteceu com vocês.
Pour vous. And she said, can't you tell? To a stupide. He said, I am the wicked stepsister. I am the wicked stepsister. And I was not smart enough to understand that, but she was saying, I intend to sabotage the project. I quite like, my problem is I want to be Cinderella. The funding is not
Quero
going
ser
to
a
my department,
Cinderela.
it's going to someone else's department. And so she was not bought into the story of innovation. She was hurt and upset, and I didn't know what to do there.
Ela estava
Now I always ask, who are you in the
machucada e raivosa.
Let me ask each one of you to say, if
Deixa
you
eu
said the
perguntar
story was
a
the most
cada um de
exciting growth
vocês.
place, African global village, live fully, yes we can. Who are you in that
Viva
story? This is the
plenamente.
critical part.
Quem é você nessa
The
história?
assumption is you're
Essa é
an
a parte
actor
crítica.
in this
Você é o
new
ator
narrative.
nessa
Each
nova
one wonders,
narrativa.
what's your role?
como ator,
So
qual é a
let's
sua
start with
meta?
Madhu.
Deixa
The new
eu
story is Africana or a
começar
village. Who are you in that story?
com a Du. Quem é você nessa história?
So write down your character in a way.
Tome nota agora do seu
Cultural agent.
personagem.
There's a secret agent. Dadaginanda is the cultural agent. Dada Maharaja is the wise mentor. He's done this in so many countries. He can provide advice forward. Beautiful. Still waiting for Madhu's. I know I'm putting him on the spot.
Ainda esperando
I'm just worried he's going to
por
talk about
vocês.
cobras.
Vamos falar sobre cobras.
The wise mentor, cultural agent, perfect stories. Anyone else? Because if you're going to play a role in this, whether it's Africa or any other foresight project, you have to have an actor, a character who can make a difference. If you know psycho-spirituality, Baba's works on microvita psychology, it all works at the microvita level, and microvita comes through the narrative, the story, I would argue. Wisdom handler, perfect. Not snake handler, but wisdom handler. Not bad. Space holder, thank you, Mira. Now each one of you is telling us your role in this. So then you have a stake. That's fantastic. Well, this is a critical part. Now let's conclude with the last 15 minutes.
Fantástico. Vamos finalizar agora
Together. And this comes
colocando tudo isso junto.
I hope you've done the readings. The assumption is there's 4 levels of analysis. The data,
Nós temos 4 pontos.
which is the
Na
problem.
superfície, o problema, os dados,
The system, what you said,
o
imperialism,
sistema,
corruption,
imperialismo, corrupção,
the worldview, individualism, and the metaphor,
individualismo,
which you said was things like help me. And then finally, you want to shift this to find the new story, the new worldview, the new system, and the new headline. So let's see if we can do this. So this is 4 levels
Vamos ver
of
se
analysis.
conseguimos fazer isso.
I'll
São
give you the
4
example of
níveis.
Brunei. When I was working there, this is
Vamos fazer
today.
exemplo.
So litany is the data, which you see
Hoje,
everywhere. We're the second most obese nation in the region. Yep, that's the headline. Why? Well, we're very rich. We have endless food. We subsidize white rice and we watch TV all day. Why? What's the culture? Rice culture. Rice, rice, rice. What's the metaphor? We live to eat. We live to eat. That's your
nós
statement.
vivemos para
That's
comer.
present. Where do you want to go? We want to eat to live.
Nós
Manger
queremos
pour la vie.
viver para
Live to
comer.
live. What does that mean?
Comer para
From
viver.
rice, rice, rice to health, health, health. Well-being.
Arroz, arroz, arroz para saúde, 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 bem-estar.
Worldview that doesn't change systems fails.
A visão global não
Attack sugar.
muda a visão individual.
Move towards
Nós
plant
temos
based.
que taxar o óleo, mudar para plant-based.
Nation's 5 strategies. Eat to live.
Isso dá às nações 5 estratégias.
Sugar, stop rice subsidy,
Taxar
plant-based
açúcar,
diet, reduce meat,
dieta
go natural,
plant-based,
organic.
diminuir carne,
What's your headline, your measurement? In
ir para os
2030,
orgânicos.
we're number 1 in health indicators in ASEAN. So it's a very clear national strategy. So I run these with Mongolia, with Kazakhstan, with Singapore.
Visto em Singapura, na
In the country,
Mongólia.
analyze what's going on at 4 levels and have 4 levels of solutions. Those of you
Temos
don't
4
see
níveis de
it's really working at the culture.
solução. Sacar trabalha nas causas.
I gave you that example. I won't give you more. I'll try to
Deste exemplo, eu vou
I've stopped sharing.
dar outros.
Try to screen share
Vou
again.
parar de
going to try to do it so I can do the writing because I
compartilhar.
need to find a way. Here we go.
Nós temos que achar o jeito.
Okay, that's what I want.
Pronto, agora sim.
So let's try to do this as a group.
Vamos tentar fazer isto
So
como
what's the
grupo.
current litany in Africa? The data, the issue. You people said
Qual o problema
poverty,
na África? Pobreza,
lack of cultural
lapso
power. What else?
cultural.
What were some of the problems you mentioned? The headlines. Oh, there's quite a bit. Someone wrote quite a nice thing here. Okay, that's beautiful. Thank you, Satya. Okay, so if we can now move to this question here. What's the litany right now? I put poverty, lack of cultural power. Anything else?
Mais alguma
Save
ladainha que é
yourself is the
contada?
story. That's good. Thank you. The worldview, I think you folks
Salve
said
você.
nation state, imperialism, individualism, tribalism. Yep, I think that's what you said. And what are the systems? Exploitation,
A
inferiority,
parte de cosmovisão, Estado-nação, imperialismo, individualismo, tribalismo,
corruption.
mito ou metáfora.
Anything else
Salve
that you
você
said?
mesmo.
The
Sistema,
worldview is still
causas e
capitalist
soluções.
system.
Exploração,
I
complexo
think that's
de
kind of conclude now,
inferioridade,
right?
corrupção,
What's
capitalismo.
the headline? Why is that the headline? And what's the deep culture behind that? Carcinoma ideology. Okay. Is everyone pretty happy with that? If someone said you have a 1-minute speech at the UN, tell me the problem, would that kind of do it? Carcinomic. Okay, got it. Cancerous, if I understood. Ideology. I think this captures system is dependent, workers not paid fair share, young
Capitalismo, dependência externa, trabalhadores não pagos,
Oui? Old and tired educational system. Okay. So now we
Está
have the
certo.
current CLA, causal analysis. Now we want to move to the new one. So what's the better one
Nós
than save yourself?
temos o que existe hoje.
I think we had the global village of
Agora
Africa.
temos que pensar na transformação. Ao invés de salve-se,
Save each other, if I understand correctly, Mahadu and others.
a Vila Global da África. Salve o
Place
outro.
to grow. Okay. And now what's the new
O
worldview?
local para
Way of
crescer.
thinking. So that's what we want to do now.
E agora, como cosmovisão, o que podemos pensar
Finally
em
analyzed it
transformação?
using CLA.
Temos uma
Kind
nação-estado,
of the solutions
imperialismo,
put together
individualismo,
our last hour and a half.
tribalismo, ideologia.
So what's the new worldview? So this, I think you folks were very clear. Pan-African, African Union, Pan-African is the worldview. Anything else? Okay. Ghanaian. So this, in terms of system, it's focused on verdant environment. Okay. Anything else in terms of systemic changes, worldviews? What would be your recommendations now? Okay.
Mais alguma transformação?
Leads, platform, cooperatives, and self.
Formação do sistema de causas e soluções. No futuro, podemos ser focados no ambiente verde, com muitas cooperativas, a educação que libera e transforma.
This is not bad now. Just looking at our time. What's the new headline then? Today's poverty, lack of
Autossuficiência.
Anything else you want to add in terms of the litany by 2040? Yeah, thriving, I think, is okay. So Africa thriving is the headline. Yeah, Africa leads the world. So that's the radical one. And here I would add,
A África lidera o mundo.
There's a phase in every continent's trajectory. In Europe, it was 50s, 60s. Lots of young people, few old people.
Quando tínhamos muitas crianças jovens, trabalhadores produtivos,
And Africa is about to enter that.
a Índia
20, 30 years
tinha acabado de começar e a África estava entrando, as pessoas tinham propósito, estavam criando um mundo novo.
So there's a demographic dividend.
Europa também.
China is just leaving it. So I think we go with Africa leads the world. So this is now a CLA. In a very simple snapshot, it sets up the measurement, the system, the new
sistema,
worldview, and I think
nova visão de mundo,
seems to have been this.
E a nova história que deve ser esta: salvar o outro.
This kind of sets out your strategy. The idea of futures is really, I'll go to this last slide here, is again from the Asian philosopher.
Você sabe, no nosso universo nada está fixo, nada está estacionário. Tudo muda. Movimento é a ordem da natureza. Movimento é a ordem da cognição. Onde não tem movimento, não está em vida. A vida está focada neste movimento. Nosso movimento está tomando a gente. E onde queremos que o nosso movimento vá? Para onde queremos que ele vá? Temos que focar nisso.
15, 20 people would like to see go. I've always known to end on time. I'm going to stop the share here. And if anyone has have
Vou parar de compartilhar agora. Se alguém tiver uma ou duas perguntas, mas pode perguntar que eu respondo.
Any queries, questions? We have 3 more minutes before this closes.
Nós temos mais 3 minutos antes que acabe. Gostaria de agradecer, Mado.
Mando Dimba, who was, and our Manish, and of course, and Dada Maharaj Fernanda for creating this space. Thank you, everyone. In the chat box, if you have any last comments, you're welcome to share them. Oh, there are some comments. Thank you, Mira. Thank you, Shiva Priya. I hope you feel confident to try these. We have an online course called Become a Futurist, Conflict Transformation Futures, and Personal Futures. If you want to, if you have funding, pay for it. If you don't have funding, email me, and we'll give you a scholarship to take the online course on how to become a futurist and use the future to resolve conflicts and how to design your own personal future. Thank you, Satya. Thank you, Fanish. I feel happy. I think we actually did quite well here.
There's a link in the chat to evaluate this course.
O link que estará no chat para avaliar esta aula, você pode criar e dar sua avaliação.
Guruvati asked me if I work in Africa. I've been to South Africa 3 times. And,
eu fui para a África do Sul 3 vezes, Marrocos,
but I will go to, I just have an
mas
invite to
eu
Nairobi to work there for
vou para o Nairobi trabalhar por algumas semanas. Aqui está o link.
Yeah, so you can pay, or we're happy to give you scholarships. For a scholarship, write 1 paragraph why you want to. I think Madhu has taken one of the classes. Madhu, do you want to say something to everyone about it? How we can help in your proud work?
Madhu, você quer falar algo sobre o seu projeto?
Interpretation room, or I can end the interpretation rooms. Probably easier. Go ahead, Madhu.
Oh, okay. Yes, thank you everyone. Thank you, Dada. Thank you, Brother Subodh and Sohail and Guruvati for inviting me to do the translation. It was very wonderful. And I would just say that this course on future studies is just an amazing course to attend because it helps to completely transform your vision for the future, the present to the future. It gives you possibility, opportunities, and many options to be able to thrive into this into life in general. So I think for the case of Africa, that's to be a very great tool that most Africans should be completely aware of and come across with it and be able, because I know we all have this determination and eager to transform the situation, the cases in Africa, but the tools reside in those studies. And I will encourage everyone to do that.
Temos que encorajar as pessoas a fazerem isso.
Okay, that's what I wanted to say.
Merci beaucoup. Yep. I think I've given the link, if you want, to everyone. I'll give it again. So it's something that adds on to the Prout work. It's not, it's the futures part of Prout and our own website. There's some personal comments. Feel free to email me later. I can respond. But I think one of the things
podem enviar comentários que eu irei responder.
End on time, start on time, and end on time. So thank you so much.
Sempre começando na hora e terminando na hora. Muito obrigado. Muito obrigado a todos que organizaram. Estou muito felizes. Temos a gravação de tudo que foi trabalhado aqui. Obrigado. Muito obrigado.
Yes, you said the PowerPoint presentation.
Yep, I can send it. Yep, I can send as a PDF.
Thank you.
Eu posso enviar como PDF.
Are we still here or are we gone?
You're still here.
Oh, okay. I've lost the... Oh, here's the screen. Okay. Okay, well, thank you so much. I will forward it.
Tá bom, muito obrigado. Vou encaminhar o PDF para vocês.
Thank you.
Bye, bye.
Thanks so much. Take care.
Muito obrigado. Se cuidem. Namaskar.